my God! Oh my God!
Today, we will use a scientific perspective to explore the complex truth behind meteorological events. According to the latest news from the BBC website, on December 2nd, due to continuous snowfall, winter blizzards covered parts of southern Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and the Czech Republic. The snowfall in Munich reached 44 centimeters, which was the first record since 1933. The snowiest December ever. Affected by the heavy snowfall that has not been seen in a century, Munich Airport will not schedule flight takeoffs and landings until 6 a.m. on the 3rd. An official statement from Munich Airport announced that the airport was closed and about 760 takeoff and landing flights were cancelled. In addition, a Cessna Citation X aircraft was unusually frozen on the runway due to heavy snow. Thank you for liking, leaving comments, subscribing and turning on the little bell. We will update every day. In addition to Munich Airport, a large number of flights were delayed due to heavy snow at London Airport, Vienna Airport and Zurich Airport. In Switzerland, Zurich Airport has so far cancelled 22 departure flights and 21 arrival flights due to continued snowfall. In addition, due to de-icing, departure time was delayed by approximately 20 to 40 minutes. Roads in many areas of Switzerland are covered in thick snow and impassable. Bus service is also unreliable due to ice or snow. Deutsche Bahn said on its website that Munich Central Station was closed and all long-distance services were completely suspended. Local media reported numerous accidents and traffic jams on icy roads. A Munich police spokesman said they had told residents not to drive out unless absolutely necessary, and people in southern Bavaria were told not to leave their homes. A football match between Bayern Munich and Union Berlin in the German top flight scheduled for Saturday was suspended due to heavy snow. The home team Bayern Munich pointed out that even if the conditions of the football field can hold a game, whether fans and players can successfully reach the stadium, or the snow that continues to fall from the roof of the stadium may cause danger, the game is destined to be cancelled first. Not only southern Germany, but also neighboring mountainous Switzerland and Austria need to pay attention to possible avalanches in advance due to heavy snow. With up to 50 centimeters of snow accumulating in just one night, Austria's Western Tyrol and Vlarberg have raised their avalanche alert to the second highest level to prevent any possible threats. This year, snowstorm events have occurred frequently around the world, and the main meteorological conditions are relatively complex. First, there is the southward invasion of strong cold air, which encounters and confronts warm and humid air. Atmospheric circulation forms jet streams or vortices, resulting in strong wind fields. Abundant water vapor sources and rapid water vapor condensation processes produce high-intensity and large-scale snowfall. Only when these key meteorological elements are present at the same time can a large-scale and long-lasting blizzard weather process be possible. Specifically, the strong confrontation between warm and cold air requires a frontier with a larger temperature jump. This type of temperature jump is more common at the intersection of a mobile polar vortex and a warm and moist air mass. When a large amount of continental polar cold air moves southward, a strong pressure gradient may occur near the warm air boundary further south. This often triggers strong upper and lower disturbances in the atmospheric circulation. The source of water vapor that forms snowstorms is usually warm and humid oceanic air. When a large amount of warm air moves from the ocean into the land or is forced to rise, it is easy to produce a process in which water vapor condenses and buffers precipitation. If there is cold air moving from the south at this time, the snowflakes may suddenly become strong and violent. Globally, high latitudes are where snowstorms are most likely to occur, especially in certain areas of North America and Northern Europe. This is mainly because polar cold air in high latitudes tends to move southward in winter and meets warm water air, to cause sudden heavy snowfall. Secondly, the Great Plains of North America, eastern Canada, the north-central states of the United States, and southern Alaska are all typical snowstorm-prone areas. In Europe, Scandinavian regions such as Norway, Sweden, and Finland, as well as northwest Russia, are also key areas. In addition, heavy snowstorms often occur in winter in Mongolia, the northern part of the Korean peninsula, and Hokkaido, Japan, in East Asia. The key factor in producing large-scale and long-lasting snowstorms is that a large amount of continental polar cold air moves southward and comes into contact with warm and humid air and is released through the interaction of complex atmospheric systems. Areas with milder oceanic climates are less likely to produce strong wind disturbances even if there is snowfall. The frequency of snowstorms varies in different countries. From a global perspective, high-latitude North American and Nordic countries are the areas with the most frequent snowstorms. This is related to the local strong continental climate. In winter, polar cold air frequently moves southward, and its encounter with warm and humid air currents can easily produce violent winds and snow. Specifically, the United States and Canada have the highest number of snowstorms, with an average of more than 20 per year. Alaska, the north-central states of the United States, and southeastern Canada are among the most prone to snowstorms in the world. In comparison, Western European countries such as the United Kingdom, France, and Germany have much fewer snowstorms every year. In Asia, East Asia, and Siberia are also relatively snowy areas. Mongolia, Hokkaido, Japan, South Korea, and the Korean Peninsula all have records of 5 to 10 snowstorms per year. Snowstorms are rare in tropical and subtropical areas such as Southeast Asia and South Asia. It should be noted that under the background of climate warming, the frequency of snowstorms in some areas has a decreasing trend, while the frequency in other areas has increased. This requires the use of big data technology to analyze the latest climate change characteristics of various countries. But in general, the risk of snowstorms is still highest in high latitudes. During a snowstorm, the first thing to consider is the impact on urban traffic. First of all, when a snowstorm strikes, the most direct impact is that a large amount of snow accumulates on transportation facilities, causing road and rail traffic interruptions or a significant reduction in speed. During the blizzard, strong winds also accompanied the cooling, causing the roads to freeze and snow to continue to drift, exacerbating the dangers of driving vehicles. This type of severe weather is particularly prominent in mountainous cities. Secondly, the mechanism of snow damage to urban traffic is the intensity of snowfall. The density of snowfall and the duration of snowstorm directly determine the severity of snow coverage and siltation of roads or railways. A snowstorm can completely paralyze transportation systems in a matter of hours. The efficiency of snow clearing is difficult to keep up with the speed of falling snow. In addition, strong winds can directly overturn light vehicles or blow down telephone poles and trees to increase road obstacles. At the same time, in addition to ground transportation, aircraft, ships, and other means of transportation will also be significantly delayed or temporarily suspended. Extremely poor visibility directly affects flight safety. Port terminals may also be blocked by heavy snow, affecting the entry and exit of transport ships. These threaten the normal operation of cities and even cause interruptions in the supply of important materials and energy. Therefore, it is still difficult to completely avoid serious impacts when a snowstorm occurs. This requires urban transportation and related departments to make emergency preparations to minimize the losses caused by snowy weather to urban operations. Secondly, you should pay attention to the impact of snowstorms on power supply. When a snowstorm strikes, the most direct impact is that a large amount of snow and ice accumulates on transmission wires and poles, increasing the load on the lines, eventually pulling down the wires and causing widespread power outages. This type of situation is particularly common in remote rural areas. There are several mechanisms for snow accumulation on power supply lines. Strong winds during snowstorms can directly blow off the snow on the lines, and new snowfall will continue to cover and accumulate. There are also wet snow that is easy to form under the combined action of lines and snow pressure. Hard ice buried the lines. Such gravity load will eventually exceed the load-bearing limit of the wire and cause it to break. Heavy snow can also collapse power poles and increase line outages. In addition to immediate breakage of lines, melting of lines covered by snow can also cause insulation damage, leakage, and even short circuits. This is especially true when temperatures rise after snow. Repair work will also be significantly delayed after a large number of lines are damaged, and snowdrifts hinder the progress of the construction team's repairs. This kind of extreme weather power outage will endanger the operation of important urban facilities and also affect the normal life needs of residents. Emergency management departments need to be fully prepared to minimize the losses caused by snowstorm power outages to social operations. This requires further technological research and development and management innovation to improve the ability to withstand snowstorms. At the same time, pay attention to the dangers of snowstorms to building safety. The most direct hazard of a snowstorm is the heavy weight of snow accumulated on the surface of a building on a large scale, which may cause the roof of the house or the entire building to collapse. This type of accident is most common in wooden bungalows in rural areas. There are several mechanisms for snow to collapse houses. The most important one is that during large-scale snowstorms, winds quickly deposit new snow on the building surface, and the net pressure of the snow rapidly increases to exceed the gravity-bearing limit of the house structure. Secondly, the old snow since the beginning of winter is densely packed by the wind in the snowstorm, which may also increase the structural strength of the snow and intensify the pressure. The combined effect of these two mechanisms caused the bungalow to collapse under the weight of the snow. In addition to direct collapse, large-scale heavy snowfall can also cause buildings to break walls and collapse roofs, threatening personnel safety. It may also crush the heating cable pipes and cause damage to the internal system of the house. The workload of clearing the covered snow is huge, and water seepage from melted snow inside the building after a heavy snowfall will continue to damage the structure. Therefore, special attention needs to be paid to the construction industry to improve the design standards for snowstorm prevention, and owners need to strengthen snow protection and cleanup work to reduce the risk of such disasters and ensure the safety of people and property. In addition, we should also pay attention to the harm of snowstorms to agricultural production. The most direct harm of the snowstorm is that large-scale low temperatures and accumulated snow seriously affect the growth of crops, and may also directly damage agricultural facilities and equipment. This is a double blow to agricultural production. The main mechanism of snow crushing crops is that the heavy weight of a large amount of snow can directly crush the stems of field crops, especially tall crops such as sorghum and corn, which are the most vulnerable. In addition, accumulated snow will also cover the surface of farmland, hindering soil gas exchange. At the same time, excessive moisture in the soil after melting snow will also cause crop root rot. These seriously affect crop yields in the current season and the following year. In addition to damaging plants, cooling can also damage crop tissues. If the temperature is lower than the frost resistance threshold of some crops, it will cause cell freeze cracking and apoptosis. This is especially true in fruits and vegetables. Heavy snowstorms may also directly scratch exposed young stems and leaves. In addition, operations such as farmland management, fertilization, and harvesting cannot be carried out during snowstorms, which also affects yields. This requires greater efforts to promote various disaster-resistant planting technologies, improve the wind and snow prevention capabilities of rural infrastructure, and reduce the risk of losses to agricultural production caused by such disasters. More importantly, the harm of wind and snow to animal husbandry production. The most direct hazards of snowstorms are severe cold and large-scale accumulation of snow, which seriously affect the living environment and health of livestock. This has caused huge losses to animal husbandry production. The main mechanism why snow affects livestock is the severe cold brought by strong winds will directly threaten the body temperature regulation of livestock and easily cause hypothermia. And thick snow will cover the grassland, making it impossible for livestock to obtain enough grass. And long-term hunger will be aggravated loss of physical strength. In such a harsh environment, the disease infection rate of livestock has increased significantly, and milk production has also dropped sharply. Cattle and sheep grazing on natural pastures are most vulnerable to such disasters, especially newborn calves. Tragic scenes of large groups of livestock dying due to hunger and cold often occur. Such losses have a huge impact on the livelihoods of herders. This requires greater efforts to build stable corrals, reserve feed, and appropriately increase rescue efforts to help farmers tide over difficulties. Timely evacuation during a snowstorm is also a key measure. Improving the overall wind and snow protection capabilities of pastoral areas is also the only way to reduce losses from such disasters. It is worth noting that the impact of avalanches and snow accumulation on mountain disasters needs to be scientifically analyzed. Avalanche is one of the most serious disasters in mountainous areas. The main mechanism of its formation is that a large amount of new snow slides rapidly under the influence of gravity, or the snow mass is unstable and collapses suddenly due to external force. Thick snow accumulation can also trigger landslides. The superposition of these two phenomena can easily cause mountain disasters. Specifically, the weight of new snowfall is the main factor triggering avalanches. A large amount of new snow on the steep slope accelerates the rolling movement under its own gravity, and the surface snow blocks quickly break up and flow down. Personnel activities may also become external triggers. The high-speed and high-energy impact of avalanches directly poses a threat to the safety of life and property. In addition, thick and dense snow covers the slopes for a long time, and the weight of the snow also becomes a driving force for landslides. Water seepage from melting snow further damages the mountain structure, eventually causing large-scale collapses. Such disasters can last for months or even longer. Mountainous areas with stormy and snowy climates are especially prone to such superimposed disasters. Thank you for liking, leaving a message, subscribing, and turning on the little bell. We will update the latest news from around the world every day. Continue to use a scientific perspective to explore the complex truth behind meteorological events.